Originated by Dr. Iftik Hayul Haq, cell number 033342570013. History and importance of Quran. Q.A. Write an account of the ways in which the Quran was revealed to the Prophet between the years 610 and 632. 10. B. What does the Prophet's first experience of revelation tell us about the nature of prophethood in Islam? 4. ANSA. The Holy Quran was revealed in stages from the heavens to its recipient, the Holy Prophet Muhammad. It was with God since beginning, as is mentioned in the Quran. It is but a glorious Quran in preserved tablet. 85:21-22, Al-Buruj. From there, it was first revealed in its totality to the first heaven, and then gradually revealed to the last messenger of God in a period of 22 years 6 months and 14 days. The Quran itself, and a number of traditions confirm that the process of revelation started in a blessed night of Ramadan. Ramadan is the month when the Quran was sent down. 2:185, Al-Baqarah. The first revelation came to the Prophet in Ramadan 610 AD while he was meditating in the cave Hira, in the outskirts of Makkah. Angel Jibril appeared before him and commanded him to read. The Prophet, being an unlettered man, expressed his inability to read. Hazrat Jibril repeated the command twice and hugged the Prophet in a crushing way. When he repeated the command for the third time and hugged him again, the Prophet asked, "What shall I recite?" Hazrat Jibril then read out first 5 verses of Surah 96, Al-Alaq. Read in the name of your Lord who created man out of a clot of congealed blood. Proclaim. And your Lord is most bountiful. He who taught by the pen taught man what he did not know. 96:1-5. This experience greatly terrified the Prophet, who rushed to his home and narrated this to his wife Hazrat Khadija. After this there was some gap before the next revelations came. They were about asking the Prophet to invite Makkans to Islam. For example, "O you wrapped in your cloak, rise and warn." Surah 74:1-7, Al-Mudaththir, and admonish your nearest kinsman. 26:214, Al-Shu'ara, and expound openly by what you have been commanded. 15 hours 94 minutes, Al-Hijr. Then, he would receive revelations consecutively, sometimes a whole surah, at others, just a few verses. Usually, he received revelations without warning, though at times the prevailing circumstances, Asbab al-Nuzul, determined the nature and contents of the revelation. For example, to console the Prophet, Al-Kawthar, 108, Al-Duha, 93, Al-Inshirah, 94, and Al-Najm, 53, were revealed. 610 to 622 AD, Makkan surahs were revealed that were generally shorter, carried a harsh tone with a poetic diction, and contained fundamentals of Islam as well as stories of the previous messengers and their communities. As the Prophet migrated to Medina, the nature and contents of revelations changed. He would now receive details of the rules of the conduct of Muslims that included observance of daily prayer, fast of Ramadan, paying the charity tax, zakat, pilgrimage to Makkah, Hajj, abolition of usury. God has permitted trade but forbidden usury. 2:275, change of Qibla. 2:144, prohibition of drinking. 5 hours 90 minutes, permitted and non-permitted foods. Matters concerning family life and major crimes and their punishments. Surahs 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the greatest examples of the Madinian surahs. He also received commandments about Qital harm jihad. First revelation about jihad is believed to be, to those against whom war is made, permission is given to fight. 22:39, Al-Hajj. After the conquest of Makkah, he received last of the revelations. For example, verses of Surah 9 are about the Battle of Hunain and the Tabuk expedition. Surely, God did. Originated by Dr. Iftik Hayul Haq, cell number 033342570013. Help you in many battlefields and on the day of Hunain. 9:25, Al-Tawbah. Surah 110, Al-Nasr, is believed to be the last complete surah revealed on the Prophet. It was revealed on him during the days of sacrifice, Ayyam al-Tishrik or Ayyam al-Nar. Some of the last revelations include, they ask you for a legal decision about inheritance. For 176, Al-Nisa, and fear the day when you shall be brought back to God, about usury, riba, and financial transactions, 2:281-282, Al-Baqarah, and now has come unto you a messenger from amongst yourselves. 9:128, Al-Tawbah, finally, after his farewell sermon, in the plain of Arafat, he received the last revelation, this day have I perfected your religion for you, completed my favor upon you and have chosen Islam as your religion. 5:3, Al-Maidah. This is believed to be the last revelation as it marks the completion of all fundamental teachings of Islam, though the Prophet lived for another 80 days after it. Revelations were mostly brought by Hazrat Jibreel, who would usually appear in the guise of a companion, Hazrat Dihya al-Kalbi. The Prophet in a hadith outlined various modes of receiving revelations. Sometimes it is revealed, like the ringing of a bell. This form of inspiration is the hardest of all, and then this state passes off after I have grasped what is inspired. Sometimes, the angel comes in the form of a man and talks to me and I grasp whatever he says. Hazrat Aisha added, verily, I saw the Prophet being inspired divinely on a very cold day and noticed the sweat dropping from his forehead. Many of those around him could notice an unusual increase in his body weight, for example, collapsing of the she-camel he used to ride. At times, revelation was directly inscribed in his heart. The Prophet mentioned this in a hadith, Ruhu al-Quds blew the following into my heart, no soul will die before consuming his sustenance. Sometimes, they were received in his dreams. Regarding dreams, Hazrat Aisha stated, the Prophet did not see any vision, but it came like the bright gleam of dawn. This means his dreams were always true. For example, in 6AH, he dreamed that was entering the sacred mosque. In 7AH, he performed Umrah with around 1400 companions. Last two verses of Surah 2 were revealed as part of direct conversation of the Prophet with God in his Miraj journey. B. The event of the Prophet's first experience of receiving revelation explains some aspects of the divine schemes of choosing humans for prophethood. It tells us that prophets and messengers are always men chosen by God who were usually matured in a special way. Also, no human, on his own, could acquire this exalted status. The Holy Prophet was shocked and confused on the sudden appearance of the Archangel Jibreel, who represented God's glory and majesty. This means that the revelations were always from God. Revelations were sent by God through an angel, usually Jibreel, because humans could not sustain the divine glory. As stated in the Quran, it is not fitting for a man that God should speak to him except by inspiration, from behind a veil or by the sending of a messenger, angel. 42:51, Al-Shura, this shows the limitations of even the most superior humans. Q.A. Describe the different ways that the Prophet, Pu, received revelation from God. 10. B. Why do you think that the revelation was sent to someone who could not read or write? 4. ANSA. Originated by Dr. Iftik Hayyu el-Haq, cell number 033342570013. The Quran was revealed in parts to the Prophet, Pu, from 610 to 632 AD, over a period of 22 years, 6 months and 14 days. The first revelation, first 5 verses of Surah 96, Al-Alaq, was sent in Ramadan 610 AD, in the cave Hira. After this the revelation stopped for a period of about 6 months. The Prophet felt quite restless during this interval, Fatra al-Wahi, till Angel Jibreel brought the second revelation, 74:1-7, Al-Mudaththir, but commanded him to start his prophetic mission. Then again there was a bit longer gap during which the Makkans ridiculed him by saying that his Lord had abandoned him. The Prophet then received Surah 93, Al-Duha, that contained reassurance by God. After this, he received revelations in relatively quick succession. They included divine commands of preaching Islam to his relatives, 26:214, Al-Shura. Then came the revelation about inviting the Maccans publicly, and expound openly by what you have been commanded. 15 hours 94 minutes, Al-Hijjah, he would often receive revelation without a warning while he was busy in addressing his companions. The Quran refers to this as, surely, it is for us to have you commit it to in your memory and recite it. And so when we recite it, follow its recitation attentively. Then it will be for us to explain it. 75:16-19, Al-Qiyamah, however, he also received revelations in special circumstances, asbab al-nuzul or context. Surah 112, Al-Ikhlas, was revealed in response to the Makkan queries about the nature and origin of God. Similarly, Surah 18, Al-Kahf, was revealed when the Prophet was questioned about the people of the cave. Surahs 53, Al-Najm, and 94, Al-Inshirah, were revealed to console the Prophet in difficult times. After his migration to Medina, he received revelations about the pillars of Islam and social conduct of the Muslim community. Surahs 2, Al-Baqarah, 3, Al-Imran, 4, Al-Nisa, and 5, Al-Maidah, contain most of these details. God sent revelations regarding family laws, crime and punishment, haram and halal foods and interaction with non-Muslims, including verses about jihad, qital. Receiving the revelation was usually a hard experience for the Prophet. Usually, Angel Jibril appeared in the form of a companion, Dihya al-Kalbi, whom many other companions were able to identify. According to Sunnah, this was the easiest and most painless way of revelation. Only occasionally, the Prophet encountered Jibril in his true form. For example, while returning from the cave Hira, he saw Hazrat Jibril with his wings covering the entire horizon. During his journey of Miraj, he saw the angel again as mentioned in the Quran, while he was at the highest horizon. Then he came near and hovered around. He was within 2 bows length or closer. He saw him on another descent. At the lote tree of the extremity. 53:7-9, 13-14, Al-Najm. During the same journey, God revealed to him the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah directly, as one of his gifts for the Prophet. The Prophet is reported to have received revelation in dreams, Ruya al-Sadiqa. These dreams always came to be true afterwards. An example of this is the Prophet's dream of entering the sacred mosque in 6 the year he signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. About this the Quran testified, indeed, Allah will fulfill his messenger's vision in all truth, Allah willing, you will surely enter the sacred mosque, in security, some with heads shaved and others with hair shortened, without fear. 48:27, Al-Fatih, Hazrat Aisha said, the Prophet did not see any vision but it came like the bright gleam of dawn, Sahihain. Moreover, the revelations were directly blown into his heart as stated in a hadith, Ruya al-Quds blew the following into my heart, no soul will die before consuming his sustenance. Originated by Dr. Iftik Hayul Haq, cell number 033342570013. Finally, Hazrat Jibril often brought revelation without being seen by the Prophet. In this mode of receiving revelation, the Prophet would hear the sound of ringing of bells. This was the hardest way of coming of revelation, as stated by the Prophet, it sometimes came with a sound like the sound of a bell. That is the hardest one to me. Sahih Bukhari, during such episodes there was an unusual increase in the body weight of the Prophet. His camel, Kaswa, could be seen to be collapsing if he received revelation while riding it. Hazrat Zayd bin Thabit reported that once he and the Prophet were asleep in the Prophet's mosque. The Prophet was resting his leg on Zayd's thigh. After a while Hazrat Zayd suddenly woke up as he felt his thigh bone was about to crack because the Prophet was receiving revelation at that time. The Prophet was often seen sweating in winters and shivering in summers while revelation came to him by this way. B. The Prophet, under a divine scheme, had not been taught how to read and write like ordinary people around him. If it had been so, the status of his teacher could have become a matter of controversy. Therefore, he was taught by God Almighty through the Archangel Hazrat Jibril, as he had been chosen to be the greatest teacher of humankind. The Quran mentions this aspect of the Prophet as, the Ummi, unlettered prophet who believes in God and his words, follow him so that you may be guided. 7:158, Al-Ayf, hence, the possible allegations of the Makkans that he had himself written down various surahs could be countered. This also shows God's decree and miraculous powers regarding the capabilities of his messengers. Finally, this conforms to the popular Arab tradition of learning by heart instead of writing down important things.